Hello, Sixes, receiving students and teachers. Thank you. Take your seats. All right, receiving students and the model class sitting up straight. Model class, less noise. Let's begin our lesson for today. We will go back to what we have learned in our last lesson. We have a question there that reads, why is a firewood called a fuel to provide energy? Right. That question, you will answer that question referring to the summary points. And the summary points are there for you already, as you can see on the monitor. In our last lesson, we looked at other sources of energy. And one source is the firewood. You also talked about the battery. Some of you wrote about the battery, about food again. You wrote about gas. All right, those are some other some other sources of energy. Firewood is one source, and it's called a fuel. Why is it called a fuel? Receiving students, you can tell your teacher. Model class, anyone's got an answer to that question? Antonia? Is Antonia here? Give us. Right, thank you.
Anything can be banned.
All right, class, again, listening. Thank you, Antonia, standing up straight.
Anything can be banned.
Right, a firewood is called a fuel because Antonia and her group members, I've seen them discuss, they said that anything that can be burned. All right, so a firewood can be burned to produce heat, to cook your food or warm yourself up. Therefore, it's called a fuel in science. All right, but you don't normally hear people using firewood or using the term fuel to refer to firewood. But fuel is referred to as petrol, or coal, or oil. Those are substances that can be burned to produce heat. Right. Receiving teachers, we are on the same strand. Science in the home, same substrand, and the same outcome. Class, our topic for today, please write that down in your exercise book, receiving students and the model class. Energy in what form? One. All right. Going back to what we have learned so far in our lesson about energy, I'd like you to quickly read this question yourself quietly, and I have also provided the answer. I'd like you to read quietly and try to make meaning out of that question together with its answer. Right? Everyone should be reading, no talking. right, you read and think about the answer. Also, you think about the types of energy or what energy is and how it helps us at school and at home as well. Okay, you are not to write, you only read. All right, I'd like someone to read the question for us and the answer that is on the monitor, model class. Anyone who is willing to read, let's see. Ravu Karo, can you read for us? Okay, read the question and the answer together.
What is energy?
Scientists,
To scientists, energy is ability to the work. Work is done when things
class, give him one big clap. Thank you, Ravu Karo, for reading. Good. So, energy is the ability to do work, and work is only done when things move, all right? Now, you are going to do 2 activities. All right, class, we are going to do an activity, a simple activity together in class, and then you will go on to the main activity of today's lesson. Receiving students, getting ready. So as the model class, I'd like you all to stand. Don't hold anything, just stand. All right, your 2 feet on the floor. Don't move your feet. Receiving students and the model class, your 2 feet straight on the floor, standing up straight. Don't hold anything. Now, first action that I want you to take, listen to my instructions well. You will follow my instructions. I'd like you to lift your exercise book from your desk or table, one. Okay, I'd like you to lift it or hold your exercise book up, right? Everybody should be holding the exercise books. And I'd like you to put your exercise book nicely again on the desk, right? Remember, we are talking about energy, the ability to do work. Okay, good. And if anything moves, energy, we can know that energy is being used. All right, next thing, your feet on the floor, nice and firm. Receiving students and the model class, and I'd like you to push on the floor with your feet, no jumping, no stamping your feet, and try to move the floor down as hard as you can, okay? No jumping, your feet steady on the floor, and try to move the floor. Push very hard, push if you can, no stamping, but just pushing your feet on the floor. Right. Let's see if someone in the class can break the floor or move the floor. Okay, receiving students, do the same. Good. All right. Class, keep standing now. Tell me. Number 1 action, listen. You lifted your exercise book up and you gently placed your exercise book back on your table or your desk. Number 2 action, you are to push with your 2 feet on the floor. Now, tell me which action has work done and Which one has no work done? Discuss with your group members. Action 1, you are to lift the books, your exercise book. Action 2, you are to push on the floor. All right. Helen, class, let's hear from Helen. Receiving students, tell your teacher.
Hen. Hen.
Sorry? In full sentence. Tell us in full sentence. Which action do you think work was done and which action work was not done, or you didn't do any work at all?
I used my hands to lift the books up.
All right, class, listening to Helen's answer, she said, receiving students, she said, work was done, is that correct? When you lift your exercise books from your table or your desk up and you placed it back. Hands up if you disagree, you don't agree with the answer. Hands up if you agree. Good, hands down. Now, hands up if you don't know. Right. The other one, the other action, you are to push your feet hard on the floor to see if the floor can break or move. Helen says, lifting the book up and putting it down, his work is done. What about the other action? Remember our definition for what is energy? Right. That definition will help you to answer the question for action 2. Good. Okay, I think you should sit down and think about it. Good. Sit down. Thank you, class, and the receiving students. All right, anyone's got anything to say with those two actions? Laka? What do you think? Or you think the two actions had work done? Thank you, Laka. Your idea?
We used up plenty energy by struggling to push the floor down.
All right, good. You used your energy by struggling, or you tried your best to push your feet so that on the floor so that the floor could move or break. Yes, okay, energy was used. But were there any movement? Your body was moving, right? But you were in contact with the floor. Your feet was in contact with the floor. Did the floor move? Like, let's say, did the floor really move or shake where others can feel the floor shaking beside you? No, all right? So the floor did not move, therefore work was not done. If I tell Caro to go and push against the wall, he is using his energy, but nothing, the wall is not moving. Likewise, your feet on the floor is not moving, that is why work was not done. Although you used your energy, but work was not done. So scientists say that energy is the ability to do work when things move, right? Let's now go on to our activity, main activity for today. All right, class, energy can take different forms. Let's read what's on the screen together. Fossil fuels. Class, together.
Fossil fuels are remains of once living animals and plants. Example, coal, oil, gas. Fuel is some source of energy.
All right. Now, in today's lesson, we are going to go through different forms of energy. Our previous lessons were on the sources. Now we will look at the different forms. Okay, your instruction to follow as you do the activity, receiving students and the model class. Read to yourself, please. Neofa, is he here? Donald. All right. Someone to read the instruction for us, please. Nora. Hey, class, listening to Nora.
In groups, think of some forms of energy around you or at home. Act. Discuss with your group members what you have thought of that is. The form of energy, how is this forms of energy is used? Give an example.
All right, thank you, Nora. All right, class, I have 4 questions for you to answer in your groups. All right, we looked at the sources of energy, the main sources and the other sources, but those sources, energy can come or can take different forms. And number 1, what form of energy is used to 1, cook rice, 2, make a CD player work, 3, make a petrol engine work, and number 4, make your torch light up. And if you can think of others, you can list those forms of energy down. The 4 that is on the monitor, you will have to find or identify the different forms of energy used. And I'd like your group members to come up with number 5, your own. Number 5 is your own from your group. Okay, discuss with your group members. And the group that's so fast, if you have finished, please think of one extra one, number 5. Make up your own for number 5. This is fun, yeah. Don't get cross here. This is fun. Yes. What comes out of the firewood to cook the food? What comes out in what form? In what form? Energy. Firewood is the source of it. Energy comes from firewood, but that firewood has to produce something to cook the rice. If you are lost, you can, or confused, raise your hand up and I can come around to help. What's your argument about? Pen, all right, I thought about this. When you cook the rice, remember, we were talking about sauce. Okay, when you use that sauce, it helps you to cook the rice. That sauce changes and then produces something to cook the rice. That's that kind of, that form of energy. It's taking another form again. From the firewood, it's changing and taking another form to cook your rice. So in between that, what is that form of energy to cook your rice? You got it. Just one word or two words instead of writing the whole thing down. Sorry. So why are you using fridge? Okay, to cook your rice, what source of energy will you use to cook your rice? Sauce. Think of the sauce now. What is it? What is it? Tell me. Okay, you can think of it. Okay, that sauce can take another form to cook your rice. Okay, so that form, that sauce there, out of it, something will be produced to cook your rice. What is that thing that will be used to cook your rice? That's coming from that sauce. That's coming from that sauce. You get what I'm trying to say. All right, hands up if you have done number 3 already. You are now on number 3. Hands up number 4. Right. Number 1, hands up if you are on number 1. Okay, we talked about sources in our last lessons. Okay, from those sources, we are now coming to the forms of energy. What is used to cook the rice? Or what is the source of energy to cook the rice? From that source, something is, let me say something, okay? It's used to cook the rice from that source. That source now changes to a form of energy, to another form of energy to cook the rice. Right, likewise the CD player, it comes from one source, but you hear the music or you hear the news. What source of energy is that? What form of energy? Okay, so that's what form of energy is that? Fire, but what do you feel from the fire? So that's what energy? You can say, you've already told me. Yeah, what did you just tell me now, starting with H? Okay, that's one form of energy. Next one, CD player. You put connected through the power switch. Okay, that's the source of energy. It's coming now. You are listening to the radio, the music. What are you hearing now? What's coming out from the radio? Okay, so that's what form of energy.
What makes it to
All right, this one is the source. Okay, so something is going to come out from the petrol to make the car to move.
those are forms of energy, but what
All right, can we stop now? All right, let's hear answers from you, class, and the receiving students. If you're not finished, don't worry. You can hear from the other groups and make your correction. Or if you have finished 1 and 2, good on you. Or if you have tried, very good. We are going to learn from each other's mistakes. All right, someone to give me the first one. What form of energy is used to cook the rice? All right, let's have Melisha.
Gas. Gas.
All right. Hands up if you have gas. Good. Hands down. Hands up if you have firewood. Right. Hands up if you have electricity. All right. Now, electricity is a form of energy. Good. If you have electricity, give yourself a tick. If you have gas, gas is the source of energy, remember. From that gas, something comes out to cook your rice. And that should be the form of energy to cook your rice. And if you have firewood, give yourself half mark. Not X, I'm just saying half. Half for gas and half for firewood. Firewood is the source, it's a fuel, source of energy. Something comes out of the firewood as a form of energy to cook your rice. Right, you, give us your answer.
The heat of the fire.
Very good, the heat of the fire. Now, heat is known as the form of energy. So, you should have your answer as heat energy. All right, next one. What form of energy is used to make a CD player work? Emmanuel?
sound?
Very good. Sound energy. If you say battery or electricity, electricity is a form of energy. If you say electricity, half battery, half mark. For you to listen to the music or the news from the radio, music from the CD player, then it is sound energy. If we are looking at a CD player in terms of the music CD itself, not the CD player to watch movie. All right, next one. Make a petrol engine work. If you have written fuel, half mark because that's the source of energy. Vanessa, your group, what did you come up with? Petrol, that's the form of energy. Source of energy. Okay, Vanessa's group is not ready. All right, the petrol burns, and that form of energy is, it can be heat, sound, and motion or movement. And that kind of energy is called, form of energy is called okay, class, say kinetic. Again, say kinetic. Right? This kinetic energy is known as motion or movement, motion energy. Right? So we have the form of energy that is produced from a petrol engine car, produces heat, sound, and movement, which is called kinetic energy. All right, last one, the torch to light up. Did you say battery? Okay, good. Give yourself half mark because battery is the source of energy. What form of energy does it take when the battery is put into the torch and you use the torch? Thank you. Our friend from the back.
Light energy.
Class, you agree with him? Light energy? All right, good. Light energy is the answer. Light is the form of energy used to light up the torch. All right, I've introduced you to one new word, which is kinetic energy. I will also introduce you to another word that you should know, and we will be using these words in our lessons to come. That is potential energy. Class, let's say this together. Again, potential energy. Okay, potential energy is the stored energy, right? So the others, you are familiar with them: heat, sound, light, and electrical energy. There are many forms of energy, but the new ones that you should learn about are kinetic and potential energy. Receiving students, very good. If you have all correct or some of them correct, good effort. So as the model class, very good try, or your answers in line with mine, good. If not, do your corrections. All right, class, this has now brought us to the end of today's lesson. I'd like you to now do your corrections and same time copy your summary into your exercise book. All right, those words are not new. They are already written for you on the whiteboard. You've used those in your activity. Energy can take different forms. Some forms are: 1, electrical energy, sound energy, light energy. Thermal energy refers to heat energy. Solar energy, potential energy, kinetic energy, and last one, chemical energy. Those are some forms of energy. All right, let's see how many of us are now towards the end of copying the summary. Almost there, good. Okay, what is our key phrase for today's lesson? Right, our key phrase for today's lesson is forms of energy. Our next lesson will be on the topic energy in what form, part 2, and pictures if possible for receiving teachers to provide. With that, thank you class for participating in today's lesson.